Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions, not prescriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is originally created for Saturday, the 11th of March. It's not solely set for that date. If you're seeing it on a different date and it makes sense to your situation, by all means, utilize the reading. If it doesn't make sense or doesn't seem to fit, that's okay. Nothing's broken or wrong. You just might be working on something different at this time. Do check out for those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu underneath any of my daily videos. In there, some housekeeping rules, what decks I'm using, how to contact me via social media, either via Instagram or my Facebook business page for a private reading. Know that I will never reach out to you to sell you a reading. You can follow me at those spaces also. Please like the video if you enjoy the content. Subscribe to the channel if you feel so inclined. Tune in every day. I do put up daily content. And share the video out and leave me a question or comment. This is a collective broad spectrum reading for all signs, so I do speak in broad terms. You need to figure out if and where it fits, okay? So let's see what the cards want us to know for today. I'm like in love with this deck. I was like not sure that I would be so much in love with this deck. Oh wow. We have the Knight of Emotions. So this is the Knight of Cups. I love it. Highly romantic card. Knights oftentimes bring messages. To me, they're about service, loyalty, strength, doing the right thing, putting others before themselves. The Knight of Cups is like, you know, the epitome of that from a place of love and emotional well-being. This could be us taking care of ourselves and our needs emotionally. This could also be us allowing someone else, a water sign, potentially a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or somebody with heavily water placement, come into our world and, you know, make clear to us how they feel. Oftentimes this is a romantic card, but these feelings don't have to necessarily be romantic, right? I don't want to put this whole like, oh yeah, he gonna show up today, girl, feeling to this. It does have that meaning, but it can also mean that, you know, a good friend comes in and offers support. A loving, supporting, loyal friend that comes in and shows us, you know, like, hey, I love you, let me help, you know? If this isn't, if we're like a total shut-in like myself, then I would determine this as being our own Knight of Cups. Like championing ourselves in an emotional way that supports us, validates us, and gives us strength, right? Believing in how we feel and standing firmly in that. Being willing to fight for that. That's also a knight's sort of stance in this. The knights are the fighters, you know, they're the ones that will go to war when told to. I'm not saying that there is a war, but there is like a strength in the knights, that a fortitude in the knights that they have, that the Knight of Cups generally is fortuitous in love, let's just say. He has a fortitude in love, whether that's self-love or love from another. Maybe we're the knight declaring our love for another. You know, maybe we're highly aware of how we feel about another party, and we're standing in that love today. This white horse to me brings a sense of power and strength and also purity. So whatever or however we experience this love, whether it's from an outside source or it's from within us towards an outside source, it is pure, it is real, it is valid, it is a source of strength if you use it correctly, right? Of the Cups suit, the Knight to me, of the court cards, let's just say this, of the court cards in the Cups suit, the Knight to me is the least messy. What I mean by that is, yes, he's emotional, yes, he's loving, yes, he's compassionate and kind, but he's also got a level of composure to him that even though the King and Queen have composure, sometimes the Queen can be overly emotional because she's the Cups version of water, right? So she can sometimes, in her negative aspects, be overly emotional, or the page might be like underly emotional in the sense where he doesn't know enough about the emotions, how to express his emotions. And the king sometimes can be like, yeah, I feel that way, but I can't really express it because I've got to hold tight and be the king. The knight to me is, he's aware of his emotions. His downfall, if there is one, is that I feel like he would be aware of his emotions and act on them. He may not always verbalize them for fear of seeming weak, but he's definitely going to display them in his actions, his choices, the steps that he takes, the words that he uses. So all of that may apply to you yourself or another party today. Pay attention to what people are saying to you or what you're feeling you want to say to others. And then, I don't want to say choose your words carefully, but choose your words in such a way that they matter. And listen to others' words, because I get a sense that what they're saying to you or expressing to you, even if it might feel limited or parsed out to you, it matters. It's deep. It's their how they truly feel. And oh, I'm getting emotional thinking about this. Their feelings might be something that they're still trying to understand, work through, or adjust to and be comfortable in. And sometimes I see the knights as, especially the Knight of Cups, all of the other knights to me feel somewhat adjusted to who they are and how they feel. Like the Knight of Swords wants to just rush in and deliver information. The Knight of Pentacles is like, fuck this, I'm not moving. You know, I'm not moving until I'm sure I'm ready. And then the Knight of Wands is like, Mister, I'm going to rush in, hopefully I can see this through to the end. The Knight of Cups is more tentative than that. He's a little bit more, because it's his emotions, because it is around matters of the heart, he's special, you know, he holds honor to that. And sometimes in that honor, we might have to listen more closely or pay more close attention to what is being said or what is being offered to understand exactly the level of love that is there, okay? I hope that makes sense. And that could be us, right? That could be us, like becoming comfortable with our own emotions around a situation or a person or relationship. But it is important, and there is love here. There is a message of love, a deliverance of love. There's a purity here and a strength here that needs to be honored, exonerated, and acted from. So keep that in mind. Let's go to miracles now. God damn it, Gabby and her words on these cards. I mean, I love Gabby Bernstein, don't get me wrong, but if you're not following Gabby Bernstein's Instagram, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm just saying that. A lot of the stuff that I have been placing on my Instagram are things that I get from Gabby Bernstein's Instagram. She finds these pictures all over New York with these sayings that I love. And so I repost them because I don't know how many people follow Gabby Bernstein. Anyways, whenever I compare myself to others, I simply say this prayer: the light I see in them is a reflection of my inner light. Now, to me, that brings me to that stone, Namaste. Now, if the Namaste stone comes out of the bag, I'm probably going to poop my pants. I'm going to say that right out of the gate. The second thing I'm going to say here is that this white horse has his own inner light. There's a truth within the love of this Knight a Knight of Cups. And whether this truth is emanating from us, a situation, another party that we're dealing with, we want to not necessarily compare ourselves, but match that inner light that's coming. You know, if it's a love that like is trickling in because maybe they're getting comfortable with it, we can match that inner light by feeling our own love for the situation or the person. We can maybe even shine our own light just slightly more brighter to light the way for them to step forward and to feel more self-assured in the steps that they take towards us if it is another party. But we have to remember that ultimately, I think with the Knight of Cups here, if this Knight of Cups represents us, instead of comparing how we may be with others or what we give to others from the purity of our heart, it's like the light that you see in them is a reflection of my inner light. Our inner light may be brighter than those that are around us, is my feeling. And to see that, honor that, know that, and own that through this Knight of Cups card is beautiful, key, and important, right? I'm just going to use myself as an example, which I try not to do that, but some of you know some of my situation this last year has been a roller coaster of ups and downs emotionally, because I had probably my most intense love experience. The thing that I learned from that scenario was that my ability to give to a situation is extremely high. Even in the face of adversity, even in the face of distance, lack of communication. I mean, I can name off the hurdles that I had to jump through to try and be present every day in this situation that I was in. But that was, in the way I'm interpreting these two cards, and maybe it makes sense to you. At first I got down on myself. I felt like, wow, maybe you were a fool. When things didn't start to work out, I thought, oh, maybe you were an idiot. Maybe you were being played. Maybe it was all a lie. But the truth is that the love that was in my heart, the part of me that got me on the plane every time to go visit, the part of me that took care of him no matter what, and really wanted to from a genuine place, taught me about my Knight of Cups, taught me about my capacity to love. And for that, I am forever grateful. Because what I understand coming out of that situation is that, and excuse my language, but the motherfucker that lands me is going to have a really wonderfully giving boyfriend one day. It may not be this guy, it may not be this situation, but what this situation and this experience taught me is that my Knight of Cups is strong, stable, beautiful, willing to move mountains, face adversity, and present like head on towards challenges that most people would be like, oh my God, this is too much, forget it. But no. And I learned a lot about my inner light in this experience while comparing myself to this other person and what I was giving versus what they were giving. But it was not necessarily a race or a competition. It was about learning about who I am, and I'm still working through that at this point, you know, but I do have a much better understanding of how much I can care deeply for a person. I still care for this person very deeply, and it still breaks my heart that there was so many hurdles in between us, right? And I'm still not 100% sure that I wouldn't jump those hurdles again if things were different. But knowing that purity of my heart, that light that resides within me, is invaluable. And ultimately, I owe that to that relationship and to the challenges that were presented within that relationship. I don't know if any of that makes sense for anyone watching, but I thought I would just share that because that's kind of how these cards are playing out for me. And it makes sense to what I feel like these cards are trying to say. Like, don't necessarily compare what you may put into a relationship versus another party. In other words, the light you see in them, or what you see in them, what you love in them, is an attribute of you yourself, right? And that attribute might even be even bigger and brighter within you, and sometimes it's harder for us to see it because we're so busy chasing the other. Does that make sense? Let me go to the clarifiers. We have the Ace of Pentacles, new beginnings, new 3D grounded beginnings. This is oftentimes represented as can be represented as a wedding or a marriage proposal. Sometimes people predict this as that. I'm not going to say any of you are all getting married. There is a new opportunity or new realization through the emotions that we're feeling of this Knight of Cups that opens new doors for us in our 3D world. This could be something as simple as seeing our own inner light and our own reflection of our truth, our emotional truth, in such a way that we can understand how to practically apply it into our world to create more beneficial, abundant 3D relations within our lives in the 3D world. That can mean more money, but it can also mean more solid friendships, more, choosing our friends more carefully, or our partners more carefully, and understanding that this pentacle that is coming down from the hand of God is the light that is within us. It is the gift that we are able to give that comes from us so naturally. The next card, oh my God, they're all coming out today. My second favorite card of the deck is the Page of Cups. He is the dreamer of the deck. I'm a Pisces, I'm gonna cry, guys. He's the one that, like, he's younger than the night, so his optimism is higher. And he thinks outside of the box. I mean, let's look at him for a second. Let's just do a dialogue here. This bitch is talking to a fish in a cup. He definitely marches to a different drum. I associate very much with the Page of Cups. I believe that, like, even in this situation I was talking about, like, regardless of the hurdles, I believe that somehow if I just kept showing up, the hurdles would move, the mountains would move, the things would change. And I'm still not convinced that they haven't or aren't still changing. But I have to pull back and honor my own light, honor my own truth, and continue to dare to dream. Continue to dare to believe that there is something of value within me, within my inner light, within my inner emotional truth that I can stand firm in, fight for, hold high regard of, and then dare to dream again. The Page of Cups to me is also, they say that the King of Pentacles is the master manifester, and I believe that, but from a purely sort of imagination place, the Page of Cups is the hands down the one that's speaking to the spirits and going, okay, I want that as the outcome. Why is the camera freaking out this morning? He's the one that's the real dreamer. He thinks outside of the box. He doesn't let limitations stop him. He goes, okay, well, that's fine. I got a fish in a cup. I'm going to talk to this fish and see what he has to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe this situation isn't working for me. I'm going to look at this situation with open eyes and open mind and an open heart and learn from this situation so that I can grow. But I'm not going to lose that sort of innocence and that sort of magical thinking that dwell in possibility aspect that he represents. Let's see what the last clarifier is. Ay, babe, Jeebus. Death. Hey, Death! Welcome to the party. All right. So, the Death card is not, to me, it's not a bad card. It's major arcana. There's actually, what I'm going to say here is there's a lot of water on the board right now. You've got the Knight of Cups, you've got the Page of Cups, and you've got the Death card. Death is associated with the sign of Scorpio, the most kind of, I don't want to call it serious, but I'm going to use the word serious of the water signs. Scorpios are deeply intuitive, deeply emotional. Oftentimes they're, in my opinion, this is my opinion, so please Scorpios do not get offended, they can be the most hidden about their emotions. They feel very deeply, but they don't like to be vulnerable, is my I love Scorpios too, don't get me wrong. Scorpios are sexy, they're intelligent, they're all of these things, but they feel things at a level that is sometimes less at the surface than, say, a Cancerian or a Pisces. Death to me is about transformation. It's not necessarily an ending, it can be a rebirth. It can be a change that takes place within us that we rebirth into a better understanding of who we are, what we're worth, what we bring to the table, how we bring it to the table, how we put it to use through the Page of Cups, and what that brings to us, or what changes that may bring to us. Death is an inevitable change, and that's one thing that, like, within relationships or situations, jobs, things like that, it's often hard to deal with. We want to hold on to it and think that it's always going to be there to support us. And death does, you know, death is the, what's that phrase? The two things we can't escape are death and taxes. And it's true, we can't. What I do think about the Death card is that, to me, the Page of Cups is not going to fear death. He's going to be like, oh, hey, you're here to kill me? Okay, well, let's see what happens next. Let's see what's on the other side, you know? And the Ace of Pentacles indicates the new beginning, almost already beginning to show itself prior to the ending of the Death card. So there may be a transformation coming within us emotionally, in the truth of our emotions, of how we feel, or how someone else feels about us, that transforms our 3D relationship into a new beginning. And I say that with caution, because I know that sometimes I watch readings myself, and sometimes I can get caught up in watching them, and they can make a lot of sense to my situation, and then I start to think, oh my God, should I be letting this absolute stranger dictate to me what I do, what moves I make in my next relationship? But what I'm thinking here is that this feels like the Ace of Pentacles and the Death card are kind of working together. The Ace of Pentacles is showing us new ways to be in the 3D as Death slowly transforms whatever is going on with us. It could be the very simple aspect of stopping comparing what myself to others in my relationships and what I give to versus what they give. Because the truth of the matter is, oftentimes when we do that, especially if you're more on the empathic side like myself, or a giver, a natural giver, you're never going to get back the same amount of what you felt you put in from the other party. So you have to find the light and the understanding of what it is that they've given and the importance of that, or you have to talk through that with them. But there could be a transformation of that too, or a dying of that, our need for that validation. I don't think the Page needs that validation. I don't think the Knight of Cups needs that validation. To me, these feel very solid in how we feel about a situation. And I don't feel like it's bad feelings. I feel like it's truths. But those truths may transform how we act or how we view the relationship, the person, what they do, and we may be able to stop comparing ourselves to them and be able to just allow them to be in their light and us to better see our own. And really, the truth is, when we see our own light, we can find that love, that Knight of Cups love, that Page of Cups love, that Ace of Pentacles new beginning, and that transformation of Death within that embracing of our own light, and the owning of it and the loving of it, because it imbues us with a sense of self-awareness, love, and value. And that might just be the very thing we need. And that's at 22:11 on the timer, so I'm going to go to the grounding stone because I've gone long on this one. And for those of you that care about the saga that I just shared about, we're still speaking, so I'll leave it at that. But it's just in a very tentative place and all of that. But, you know, maybe one day I will share more about it. And here is the grounding stone. We are to ground in the wealth. And wealth is not just money. We can see wealth in that Ace of Pentacles, but there is a wealth of emotion that is within us, a truth in the emotion that is within us that should bring us intelligence, prosperity, abundance in how we feel and how we see ourselves. Even in the Death card, you know, with death comes rebirth. There's always that sun in the Death card that means a new day is dawning. So there's a wealth in the opportunity of the new days that are coming. Underpinning this in the midweek was the Fool, right? And the Fool kind of correlates to the Page of Cups and to the Death experience, right? It is the new beginning of the Ace of Pentacles. What was the third week card? Oh, Ace of Pentacles. So it's beginning, guys. Whatever this new change is, this new shift is, it's here. And remember, the grounding stone for the week was finding this clarity. So this clarity may be exactly in how we feel, how we love, how we view our light, and how important and wealthy that actually truly makes us at an emotional, non-physical, spiritual level. I hope that makes sense, you guys. If it does, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you feel so inclined, share this video out, and leave me a question or comment. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. I do this all for you guys. And thank you for letting me be the teary-eyed Pisces I can be at times, you know. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow to see how this all changes. We should have a new weekly coming up. All right, take care. Love yourself, trust your emotions, stand tall in them, and think outside the box. All right, bye-bye.